Hello, everyone. This is Coach Allison, and I have your week 3 Defy Aging workout for 2025. It might be a little confusing because I know the video for last week also said week 3. So I do apologize. I was very, very sick last week and I could not record a new video. So I did have to recycle a video from last year, from 2024. And I was looking at the workouts from the earlier part of the year, so it wasn't anything too recent that we did. And I thought the week 3 workout was just a very, very good one. So I did take week 3 from last year to do for last week. So that's why it seems like we're doing week 3 2 weeks in a row. But last week was week 2 as far as the calendar year goes. This week is week 3. And I'm back. I'm feeling better. So here we go. Here we are. So this week we have an AMRAP, which means as many rounds as possible. It's an acronym for that. So there's no rotating this week. You're going to be in your own space, working at your own pace. We're going to be doing this for 25 minutes. So you do as many rounds as possible within that 25 minutes. And everything is 15 reps. So you don't have to look at the board and see different rep counts for different exercises. Just remember, everything is 15 reps. However, some things are single-sided, so it'll be 15 reps for each side for right arm and for left arm. But that's easy enough to remember, I think. There are 6 exercises, if I didn't say that already. And again, you just do as many rounds as possible. I think the average will be around 3 rounds, give or take, but some people will get 2, 2.5, some people might get 4. Everyone is just a little bit different as far as how fast they go through the rounds. And if you're newer and these movements are new for you, or if you've been doing this for a long time with us, so these movements are kind of old news for you. So everyone's going to be different, but that's the beauty of doing things at your own pace. You can just go at your own pace. Okay, so let's do some demonstrations. And then of course we have a team builder at the end. Okay, team, our first exercise in the list is a balancing single arm overhead press. So for this one, the reps will be 15 reps on each side individually. So you have a dumbbell and you're going to be balancing on the same side as you're holding the weight. So I have my weight in my right hand, so I'm going to be balancing on my right leg as well. And then we do a standard overhead press. You want to try to have this knee, the leg that's up, you want to try to have this knee kind of up and forward at about a 90-degree angle like this. What I mean by that is we're trying not to have it like this. I mean, you can if this is newer for you and you're really just working on this type of thing. But if you're more seasoned with this stuff, try to bring this knee up. It does incorporate, first of all, more abs, and it also incorporates a little bit more balance in general. So we want to try to have that knee up, and we also want to try to avoid pressing the leg into the balancing leg. So try not to have that leg pressing in. So we'll do 15 reps on the one arm and then 15 reps switch side on the other side. And that is the first one in our list. Exercise 2 in the list is a bird dog pulse. This one's going to be a little bit different. So we're in our standard bird dog position, which means you're on your hands and your knees. So we bring that one arm up and the opposite leg. That's standard bird dog. But for the pulses, we're just going to do a little bit of a small lift and lower, like this, for 15 reps. And then of course, once you get your 15, find your balance on the other side and get your 15 pulses with the other side. So notice how it's a pretty small movement. So you don't want to do a full, we're not coming all the way down and all the way up like this. It's a small pulse. Okay. And you can definitely do that one on an incline. Anybody who's not getting down on the floor for any reason, feel free to put your hands on a bench or a box. Do that one on an incline. It works just the same. It's going to be just as good. So 15 on each side for our bird dog pulses. Exercise 3 in our list is push-ups. Now, normally with push-ups in this type of routine, we don't have quite as many reps. So 15 is going to be a really good challenge for everybody this week. And don't need too much explanation for push-ups, of course, but definitely you can do them on your knees. Excuse me. As we all know, we want to make sure with push-ups though that your elbows are kind of tracking slightly back, if you can see that. And what I mean by that, we don't want them to flare excessively outward. So we want to make sure our elbows aren't, see how my elbows right now are flaring like excessively out. That's really not great for your shoulders. So you want to have them kind of angling slightly back. They don't have to be excessively back like this, but just a little bit of an angle back. You do want to make sure we're not doing, I call it a nosedive push-up. That's just my own little coined term for it. But that means we don't want to keep watch my hips and my butt. We don't want to keep the hips and butt up and just bringing the head down. That's not really a true push-up. That is too much shoulder and not really a lot of chest engagement. So we want to make sure that the hips and the torso, all of this stuff, are going down to the floor as well. And we can definitely do that on an incline. So again, anyone not getting onto the floor, grab your bench, do that on a bench. And we can always do a wall push-up as well, if that's where we're at. If push-ups are brand new for you, we go against a wall like this. Or even if they're not new and you have maybe a shoulder injury, something that's making the push-up painful on the shoulder, a wall is a great place to go for that. So that is 15 reps for push-ups. All right, we're on to exercise 4. Now we go to push-ups or a chest exercise. We're going to go right into a back exercise now. So we're going to a 2-point row. I'm using the same weight that I had for my shoulder press, but I want you to go heavier for the 2-point row because it's a back exercise and our back muscles are very strong. They're much, much stronger than our shoulder. So you should have a heavier dumbbell for this than you used for your shoulder press. But we do this one all the time. You're kind of stabilizing yourself on your front leg. Step the back leg way back. If the back leg is kind of too close, it's a little awkward and not set up right. So really get that leg back for stability. And then we pull up and back, little tiny bit of a twist. Not excessive, so we don't want to do anything excessive like that. But we're trying to target these muscles kind of here in the back. So a little bit of a twist there. See how I'm sort of doing this little bit of a twist. And we pull the weight up towards the kind of the hip right here, lower rib cage and hip area. So we're not pulling it up to the armpit. So we don't want to kink it up like this. Make sure we're not shrugging the shoulder. So keep that shoulder depressed away from the ear. And that, of course, is back to a single-sided exercise. So it'll be 15 reps on each side. Exercise 5, half kneel bicep curl. So we do a lot of this half kneeling stuff. It's great for stability. Okay, the side with the knee that is down, that's the side you're going to use for the bicep curl. Just because this leg then is in the way. If we tried to do this other side, the leg is kind of in the way. So just this leg's now out of the way. Excuse me, I'm getting over that sickness I had still. Pardon me. Okay, so I like to do this kind of curl where I turn my palm in at the bottom and then up for a nice squeeze at the top. Just because doing it this way, the bell, if I keep the palm forward, the bell kind of just runs into the leg. And I personally feel like it's kind of awkward feeling on the elbow to keep the palm forward. I find this much more comfortable. But if it's comfortable for you to keep the palm forward like this and you prefer that, that is totally fine. Either way though, whatever style you do, make sure there's no swinging at the bottom and using momentum like this. So it's slow and controlled with a nice dead stop at the bottom. If the weight is too heavy, you might notice you're having to do this little kick out. See how my elbow right here is kind of kicking out? That means the weight's a little too heavy and you're having to kind of do this little extra jerk motion. So watch out for that if the weight's too heavy. Okay, so 15 on each side, of course. Anyone staying off the floor? We're going to do a staggered stance because you still get that stability challenge because this is still a little unstable, so you still have to use these core muscles and the hips and all that good balancing, all that good stability. So if you're unable to kneel on the floor, stagger your stance like this. It's very similar. See how it go from this to this? Totally fine. Okay, so you'll still get that balance and stability challenge. So 15 on each side for the half kneel or the staggered stance bicep curl. All right, and our final one on the list, exercise 6, is jump squats. This one, it's very challenging, but on the bright side, it will go very quickly. Okay, so a normal squat, hips go back, keep those knees from going too far forward like this. Don't let that happen. Never let your heels come off the floor in the actual squat part. So like we don't want this to happen. So normal squat, but then we come up with a nice little hop. We're trying to get the feet off the floor just a little. You don't have to get very high. We're just trying to create a little bit of air, a little bit of space between your feet and the floor. It's just very important though that we land nice and soft. So when I land, it's nice and gentle and I'm going right down into my next squat. What I'm not doing is stopping like this, pausing, and then going down, because then you're kind of jarring your knees. You're creating a little bit of extra impact there. So make sure you are going right down into the next squat, and the legs will start to burn probably around rep like 7 or 8, and the cardio will happen pretty fast as well. So we're going for 15. Anyone unable to do any impact for any sort of restriction reason, not just because it's hard, because you can't do it for medical restriction. We're going to go a fast squat. So you don't actually come up off the floor, but we add speed. You know, I took my squat and going really, really fast with it, but I'm just not doing the jump. So that'll be your alternative if impact is a no-go for you. Okay, so 15 jump squats.
Okay, so for the team builder, this is going to be super fun. I don't think we've ever done it. It's going to be a skipping relay. What did I call it? High skip. There we go. High skip relay, because it is called a high skip. It just escaped my mind for a second. Okay, so we probably haven't skipped for possibly many, many, many years, decades, maybe. It's not as intuitive as it was when we were children. So first of all, it might take a moment to relearn how to skip. So that's number one. And then we add a high skip component, which is just a little more the movement involved. So I'll show you. But we're going to do it in a relay form. I'm going to let your coaches decide. It depends on how many people you have in your session, if how they want to run this. So it might be different ways. You might have two teams and everyone has to go down and back the turf once, and we'll see what team wins, whoever gets everyone back first. Everyone might be one big group. If you have a smaller session, maybe 4 or 5 people, and maybe their coach will challenge you all to have everyone get down and back, going one person at a time in under a minute. Or the coach will time how long it takes everyone to get down and back, and then have you do a second round and maybe challenge you to beat the time from the first round. All sorts of fun ways. I'm gonna let your coach get creative with that. No matter how we do it, though, we're gonna be skipping. And turn my camera around if I need some space. So if we haven't skipped for many years, skipping is like that. Okay. I can't explain it verbally. I don't know. So you'll have to watch me one more time. Skip. Okay. When we do a high skip, everything is just exaggerated. If there's any impact restrictions, kind of like with the jump squats we had earlier in the routine, keep it low, like I just demoed, and keep it kind of minimal. And that's just fine. You're still gonna get some cardio and you're still gonna have fun. But a high skip, we take the knee up really high and we take the opposite hand up really high and just try to make it exaggerated and really, really big. So I'm gonna give myself some space here. Okay, like this. So see how very exaggerated that was? My knee went up really high, my arm went up really high, and it's opposing sides. So when one knee goes up, the opposite arm goes up. Everyone's gonna look really, really goofy when you're practicing it and when you're getting used to it. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Arm and opposite knee. That arm helps lift you up really high. Get as much height off the floor as you can. Okay. So it's a high skip relay, high skip challenge, whatever we want to call that. And again, your coach is going to decide how they're going to have you guys run this. But we're going to go down and back the length of the turf. You might do it once, you might do it twice. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of cardio, a lot of coordination, a little bit of agility. So it's incorporating those things that we are always working on with Defy. And again, it's just going to be a lot of fun. So might have to do a couple practice rounds first. Let's give it a shot. Okay, and that wraps up week 3 for 2025 Defy aging. So hope there was maybe new move or two for some of you. And I hope you enjoy the AMRAP this week. See you back next week.